All right, let's try going through it. So number one, so why did the Chinese have a problem with this vitamin and nobody else did? Yes, let's do a little nutrition cross-cultural analysis in the thesis of the sheet here. Okay, so here is a rice or any grain. There are three parts. There's an outside thing called a husk, this bran thing called a hull officially, and there's the thing you eat, which is the endosperm. So we have to figure out what nutrients in each one. So the easy one, what's in the endosperm? Which kind? That's pure starch. So next time you pop a popcorn, that's what's blowing up, is the endosperm, basically the bag shape. Okay. The husk is just the plant. So what's this whole bran thing? What's that? What's in that? Has some oils, has some proteins, has a little oil fats. Okay. And complex carbs. But the trick is you're eating different things with the rice. So if you eat the outside, you're eating the plant. If you eat the hull, you're eating proteins and fats. You're eating the white thing on the center, you're eating starch. Basically how all grains are made. Okay? So white bread is endosperm. Okay? Brown bread is hull. Okay? Whole wheat versus white. Make sense? Okay, so let's look at our three communities. They're living in the same place, eating the same food. Hence a perfect experiment. What did the Chinese eat? Polished white rice. And how do I make white? It sounds like a joke. White rice polished. What do? I take everything off except for. So that's gone. That's gone. So all you're eating is starch. That's polished white rice. Yeah. Well, the brown rice formally is not a rice, but dirty rice is you leave the hull on. Brown rice actually isn't rice. The same idea.
What is it?
Yeah, it's a different. It's not a horizon. So let's do our Malays. What did they do? The Malays. They hold it. They partially removed the outer. So they took some of the hull off, and with that, most of the proteins and fats. Okay. So they left this, and they got that. So what did our Tamils do? They ate the whole thing, right, in water. So they're eating the whole basic seed. We have to figure out now about this thiamine. So vitamin B1. So you have to understand the difference between water-soluble vitamins versus fat-soluble vitamins. We'll do the easy one. What does fat-soluble mean? Stored in fat, found in fat. What does water-soluble mean? Secreted. It's in water. So, which ones are which? So name a fat-soluble vitamin for me. A, E, D. Right? So this is vitamin B something. Therefore, what kind is it? A water-soluble vitamin. Alrighty. Alright. So it's found in water. It's water-soluble. The question is, which part of the rice would have the vitamins in it? It's not the starch.
No, they all repeat that.
All right, so the only place you can put vitamin B1 is in the hull and the husk. It goes on the outer two layers. So if I rip the outer two layers off, I'm removing the vitamin with it, because starch doesn't have any vitamins. Okay? So if I'm a Chinese eating polished white rice, there's no vitamin in the rice, it's pure starch. Therefore, I'm not going to have vitamin B1 in my diet. Makes sense? Efficient. So the Tamils, they eat it by boiling it in the husk. So therefore, they're getting the whole rice grain into their food. Keep the vitamin in the plant. And the Malays remove part of it. Okay, so let's look at who's sick. Who's the most sick? The Chinese. Tamils, not sick at all. Malays in between. So the whiter your bread, the less vitamin it has, right? Because they remove the vitamins and they take off the color. Sense? So the question then is number 2. What's going to be affected by them if they don't use thiamine? So we figured out thiamine was used for pyruvate dehydrogenase. I misspelled that horribly. Which of these 3 things uses pyruvate dehydrogenase? The Krebs cycle. So they would have a problem in their Krebs cycle because I'm not eating the vitamin that does step 1 of my Krebs cycle. It's found in these areas. Make sense? So white rice is not nutritionally sound for most people all the time.
Wait a minute, I'm sorry, tell me the relationship between the B vitamin and the pyruvate dehydration.
That's what's in it. So the B vitamin is the enzyme.
It's inside that.
It's a cofactor for that. Make sense? So if they're going to have problems with their Krebs cycles, that's where this enzyme is used. Make sense? Right. So let's figure out number 3 then. Negative correlation. What does negative correlation mean?
Not cool.
So the more fat in my diet, the less thiamine I would need, right? One goes up, one goes down. So why would eating fat mean I don't need this vitamin?
More fat, less.
That's what I'm asking you. Why would eating more fat mean I need less of this vitamin that's used in Krebs cycles? Very good. Let me show you this picture. All right, so what we've just been doing was we learned in 112. So glycolysis, Krebs cycle, etc. Remember that? Okay. And this enzyme we're talking about is pyruvate dehydrogenase, which took you from pyruvate to acetyl-CoA, right? Right there. But if you notice, that's only if I burn sugar. Sugar goes to pyruvate, goes to Krebs, and out. The fat is not sugar, right? So look where fat comes in. I burn fats, they bypass that step and go directly to the Krebs cycle. They don't need this enzyme to go from glycolysis to Krebs. They skip that step. So the more fat I eat, the less of that step I need. Make sense? So I can avoid eating the sugar by burning the fats. I can do that. I can burn my fat. If I do that, I avoid this step of the sugar. Make sense? If that were true, then you could never eat fat. But you can burn fat. It just uses a different sequence of enzymes. But there's a cost to that. Take a look what happens when you burn fats. You make ketogenesis. Ketogenesis makes what? Ketone bodies. Let's talk about ketone bodies. If you do lipolysis, if you do lipolysis, you always will make ketones as a waste. The price you pay for burning fat, you have to make ketones. That's the metabolic pathway. Ketones. What are ketones? Why did you ask? They are chemical. And where do you send it to waste? So where do you send all your waste? To your liver. And where do you send them out? The liver gets them. Poop and or pee. So you're going to urinate out your ketones of your kidneys. So this is a waste product you make by burning fat. So next time you have a diabetic patient at the nursing home, you're checking their urine. You're checking for 2 things. What are you checking for? Sugar and? Okay, why would a diabetic have ketones? Burning their fat. Why are they burning their sugar? They're diabetics. So you think about a diabetic. They can't burn sugar, right? They have no way of utilizing sugar. What does their body do to stay alive? Burns the fat. And the waste product are ketones. That's why they're ketogenic. Ketoacidosis. Ketosis.
So should they eat more fat?
That's all they can eat. That's all they can burn. Fat and protein.
So you do like lipolysis, however you say it, when you don't eat fat or when you do eat fat?
It doesn't matter. Just burn fat. Anytime you burn fat. So you only burn it from what you have in your body or from your diet. If you know someone who's a type 1 diabetic, they're always really skinny. Why are they skinny? Because they can't burn their sugars, they have to burn their muscles and their fat to stay alive. And they produce these ketones in their pee that you check for all the time. Yes?
Is this just type 1 diabetic?
Yes.
This is
Not type 2.
So what's type 2?
Type 2 becomes ketogenic after a while. It's because of their obesity. Yes.
So when you're checking for ketones,
Yes.
and if they do have ketones in their urine, what do you do to, how do you make it go away?
You can't directly. You have to stop burning fat.
So I used to watch a little girl, she was diabetic, and when she never had ketones in her pee, like it never happened to me, but what would you do if she...
That means your insulin is low.
Okay, so if you're having...
Okay, so if you are on an Atkins diet, people say, look at me, I'm in ketoacidosis. Yeah, you are. Because if all you're eating is fat, you're going to burn fat for your fuel and make ketones all the time. If you urinate out, you brag to people about your ketone. Yeah, right? Let's say you're anorexic. You're doing the same thing. You're starving to death, your body's burning fat, so you're going to end up with ketones in your pee. Okay? Or a diabetic. Okay? That's the price of burning fat, is the ketones.
Does ketones in your pee like change color?
It makes it smell really bad.
Oh, so like when you just...
That's different. Ketones smell like a rotten apple. A smelly, overripe apple. The alcohol remover kind of smell. That's a ketone. So if you smell that as pee, it means they're burning their fats. Therefore, they're releasing ketones out of the urine. It's a waste product.
Why?
Because your kidneys will die eventually from the ketones. Toxic. Ketones will kill you eventually. The price you pay for burning fat is you have to make ketones. So if we go back to this case study, if I don't have enough thiamine, I have to burn more fat. That will then make more ketones in your body.
Burning fat, like, and produce ketones in that put you on dialysis?
No. Not under normal conditions. If that's all you did like a diabetic, eventually you would.
So if you don't...
But under normal conditions, your ketones will only be up when you're not eating.
Or they just like eventually ketones is waste from like it's toxic to like destroy your
Eventually.
kidneys.
But under normal conditions, you would never let that happen.
You say that you
Welcome here, guys. So if you know someone who's an Atkins nut, you ask about how your kidneys doing. The doctor probably shares. Because as I use more ketones, my kidneys have to excrete that. So in 3 weeks in the lab, we'll be testing your pee. One of the things I'm going to test for is your ketone levels. Because that tells me you're burning lots of fat, which is great if you're doing weight loss, bad if you're not. Because that means you're burning fat for no reason. So the ketones are a waste product because they're fat instead of sugar. Like these people are doing with their rice diet. Makes sense? You're all going to be like
What's the short, sweet answer to me?
short answer is because you don't need the enzyme to digest sugar. You use fats instead. Alright. Skip that. So, makes sense on that? Let me tell you what's on your exam then next week.